Hey gamers, Blindy here. Long time no see. It's May 2026 and I finished playing Halo Combat Evolved to review with you. Like many of you, I've gotten in the habit of buying games on sale in the Steam store, but I feel I should try to be a little bit responsible and actually play some of the games I've purchased, so I still have some older games in my backlog that I'm still needing to play. So that brings us to this 24-year-old game. The original Bungie version of Halo released on November 15th, 2001 for the original Xbox, but that's not the game that I played, just to be clear. I played the Anniversary Edition available on the Master Chief Collection with my LED Steam Deck. Bungie has a number of other titles you may recognize. Destiny, of course, would be the other big name that they've developed, but they've also created a name for themselves with the Marathon series, which was recently released. Looks like Marathon's initial impressions are that it's kinda fun, but is joining a lot of similar titles in a short period of time. But that aside, I also noticed they created Operation Desert Storm. It was their second game, released in 1991, and I remember playing that game quite a bit back in the day. If I recall correctly, it was one that had an overlay for your keyboard to tell you which keys did what. Wikipedia says it was a Mac title, which we didn't own, so I'm hoping I'm remembering this accurately. Anyway, while Bungie was responsible for the original game, the Master Chief Collection was under the stewardship of 343 Industries, Saber Interactive, and Certain Affinity, for those of you interested in the companies that made the Halo games a thing. And the Master Chief Collection is available on the Xbox 360, Xbox One, and Windows, meaning that unless you're using an old Xbox system, playing on a computer is likely the way you'll be able to play this moving forward. If you weren't around back in the late 90s, you may not be familiar with the phenomenon that was Halo and the original Xbox. But even if you were around, maybe you didn't know back in 1997, when development first began on Halo, the original plan was to make it a real-time strategy game. Then, when their ambitions changed, it became a third-person shooter, then finally a first-person shooter. This would be the most ambitious console-based shooter up to this point. The most advanced console-based shooter by the time Halo released was probably Perfect Dark on the N64. And while that game was great, and deserves a lot more love from Microsoft, Halo easily took over the title of most ambitious. The graphics were generally considered amazing, and the multiplayer, even though only local multiplayer, was some amazing times. I never owned this, but I have strong memories of playing this game with friends. Alright, let's get focused again. Like I said earlier, I played the Master Chief Collection, and I played this using my LCD Steam Deck. It was my first time playing through the campaign, and because I'm not completely masochistic, I chose normal difficulty. I've heard stories of the more difficult settings, and yeah, I'm good. If you don't already own the Master Chief Collection, it really might be worth it. Typically, it's about $50 Canadian, and it includes 5 games, but if you're patient, it'll go on sale at 75% off, putting this 5-game collection at $12.50. And considering you're buying Halo games, and not some stupid collection of games that doesn't justify paying more than a couple bucks for, you know that all 5 games are going to be pretty fun to play. It's recommended that you have 43 gigs available to install the Master Chief Collection, which is pretty specific. My install was just over 38 gigs, so it's pretty close. And if you'll be playing this on a Steam Deck like I did, you'll be happy to know that the game is verified. And I would say that my experience would corroborate that. I had no issues playing this on my Steam Deck. One thing to note though, don't expect a great battery life out of this. You'd think that Halo would be old enough to not need the computing resources more intensive newer games would require, and even the Master Chief Collection should be old enough tech that we should be able to get a couple of hours of gameplay, but no. We do not have that luxury. Expect to get around an hour to an hour and a half of unplugged game time. That'll get you through a mission or two. It's not great, but if that's all you need, then maybe it's not that bad. For the critical reception, here's the scores for the Master Chief Collection. Metacritic stands at 85, but that's only for the Xbox One version, and Steam stands at 91% approval with over 161,000 reviews. Generally speaking, I think those scores are pretty close to my thoughts, except that initially launching the game on Steam is a royal pain in the ass. This game requires a separate launcher, so you have to log in with your Microsoft account. When you try to do that, it'll tell you that your password is wrong and you'll have to reset your password. Or if you're trying to play in desktop mode on the Steam Deck, just remember that you can't access your digital keyboard, so you won't even be able to type in your wrong password. At least when you finally log in, you stay logged in, so you can jump to desktop mode afterward if that's what you're trying to do. Just don't wait a couple months to play again because you'll have to log in, and you know the joys of that. The ESRB rated this game as M for mature, as you might expect. Blood and gore, violence, and language are their reasons for the rating, which are completely fair. You shoot things, they die. It's exactly what you'd expect from most first-person shooters. And you can expect to spend around 10 hours on the main story of this game, according to How Long to Beat. I took around 13 hours to complete the game, but I always assume my runs will be slower than whatever is the given time on HLTV. Now that I've laid all that out, let's switch gears. At this point, I'll warn you that I will do my best not to spoil anything or give away any major plot points. I will show some gameplay, talk about some of the game's mechanics, maybe even show a cutscene or two, but I can't guarantee that anything I show or talk about won't be something you wanted to avoid, so there are potential spoilers ahead. Because this is the first game, there's a lot of lore that needs to be established. A number of centuries in the future, the humans are fighting a losing battle against an alliance of alien races known as the Covenant. After a desperate escape with a slip-space jump in an attempt to draw the Covenant away from the planet Reach, the starship Pillar of Autumn ends up right next to Halo, a giant artificial ring planet. The Covenant follows and continues their attack, forcing the starship to evacuate everyone down onto Halo in an attempt to save lives. Master Chief Petty Officer John 117 is awakened and teamed up with the ship's AI, Cortana, as they fight off invading Covenant and escape to the surface of Halo. As Master Chief and crew fight off enemies as they trek the surface of the ring world, they begin to find out more and more about Halo and all the creatures they're fighting. Among them are the Flood, a parasitic organism whose purpose is to consume sentient life, and is represented by grotesque creatures and waves of enemies. As the game progresses, you find out that you can't destroy the Flood, you can only starve the parasite, which means eliminating all sentient creatures in the galaxy. Without giving too much more away, let's just say that Halo plays a part in the final stages of the game in a very dramatic ending. For this game, you take control of Master Chief in a first-person shooter. On my Steam Deck, I tried both the analog stick and the touchpad to aim, and I ended up preferring the analog stick. I noticed there was a subtle auto-aim system, and I didn't investigate if there was a way to change that in settings, or if higher difficulties would affect that, or whatever else. I just went with what they gave me. You'll have a health bar as well as a shield. If you don't take damage for a few seconds, your shield begins to regenerate, so if you're strategic, you'll be able to withstand quite a lot of damage. Now, once that shield is depleted, and before it has had a chance to regenerate, that is where you can take damage to your health, so be careful. And Halo is famous not only for its shooting, but also its vehicles. It has a number of them, and for the most part they're all kind of fun to use, though some are more reliable than others. As you get started with the game, one nice feature is that you get a moment to choose how you would like to have the aiming stick operate, either with pushing up, looking upward, or pushing up, making you look downward, like flight controls. You get to test out which one works best for you in-game without having to fiddle around with configurations in the settings. At times, it feels like there are a lot of weapons, and a decent diversity of them as well. You'll generally find lots of ammo for your rifle and other guns, but there's often lots of Covenant weapons to pick from too. That is, until you need one. Then you can't find one for the life of you. Plus, I want one of their swords. Just let me have one. It's too bad it's one you can see, but you'll never get one to drop. One thing you'll find is that this game feels very repetitive. There's a lot of repetition in the world design. Levels have you traverse down one hall to make you go through a door and walk down an identical hall. You'll enter a circular room, walk all the way around the perimeter, only to walk through a door literally 20 feet from where you entered. Walk down a hall, enter a door, enter another circular room. There's a lot of that in this game, and in a way it's boring and repetitive, but in a way, if you love the gameplay, it keeps the game going. It's not a great design, and at times it could get you a little messed up on which way you're going, especially if you shut down the game for the night in one of these areas and return to it a couple days later. Good luck figuring out which way to go. A simple fix would have been more guidance. You get an objective, and sometimes Cortana gives you a little help, but if you missed what she said, you're out of luck. Now, if you look closely, the floors may have arrows in them pointing you which way to go. Definitely better than nothing, but only some areas are conducive to having them. Don't expect them on the grass outside. While this game has pretty fun shooting mechanics, one thing I've never really enjoyed in games was running backwards while shooting. And this game forces you to do that. They throw a ton of enemies at you, so you backpedal while you lay down lead to keep the enemies at bay. You run around in reverse circles until you eliminate the wave. So it's not really about gun skill or utilizing the weapon you have to the best of your abilities, it's just unloading clips as you run away. And near the end of the game, that strategy kinda wears thin. Huge waves of various enemies with lots of shots aimed your way gets kinda boring, and trying to find enough ammo to shoot can actually be a bit of a challenge. And don't forget the vehicles. Some of them are fun, but they all could get a bit annoying. An awkward bounce can send you flying through the air unexpectedly, or some bit of terrain can catch your vehicle by surprise, or the speed you're traveling at doesn't allow for a smooth landing. The vehicles are handy and useful if you don't have to rely on them, but there are some levels that require you to drive, and that can cause you a bit of stress. That said, let me be thankful that there is no boss fight in this game. Don't need it, don't want it. The last level was tough enough. It was a driving level. If you're playing the Master Chief Collection like I did, you can flip graphics between modern graphics and original graphics with the press of a button, and it transitions smoothly in real time, without any lag or stutter, which is a really cool feature. Or, at least, it's cool to do once and then never care about it for the rest of the game. But hey, it's there. And also note, a small detail is that the way the Master Chief Collection works is that you have to install the campaigns separately. So I had to install Combat Evolved once I got the Master Chief Collection up and running. And of course you'll do the same with the other campaigns. After all that, would I recommend this game? I would. I think it's a good basis for the Halo games. I don't have a lot of experience with the other games in the series, but I'm looking forward to giving them a try. This campaign wasn't great, but it's still a fun shooter. I bet the multiplayer was a huge part of what made the experience amazing, but the campaign was no slouch. And if you're looking for replayability, this game isn't bad. Besides attacking it like a speedrunner, you can challenge the higher difficulties, but in reality, it'll challenge you more than you challenging it. So let's score this game. I'll give it a 9 out of 12. 75%. While it is great in many ways, it's very repetitive, almost frustratingly so. And the difficulty as the game progresses really just relies on you managing more and more enemies. Because I don't know the other games in the series, I have nothing to compare to, so I hope that subsequent games are more polished in this respect. But it's still a fine game when all is said and done. But if you buy the collection, you'll have lots of options on hand. Here's where I would normally say that we can check out the boss fight, but like I said earlier, no boss fight in this game. So take a look at this instead. Alright, here's where you can let me know your thoughts. I covered a lot, but I didn't cover everything. So let me know. Was I fair? Was I wrong? Give me your thoughts in the comment section. I'd love to hear what others think. Here's where I would thank my patrons on Patreon, but I don't have one, so that ain't happening. Instead, I invite you to join my Discord channel. Talk to me directly, and we could chat about games and stuff. And things, I guess. Now let me add this new section before we sign off for today. A little personal chat. I haven't forgotten about this channel, so if I have any return viewers, I'm sorry I've been gone so long, but thank you for returning. A quick history of my last few months is that my wife had been diagnosed with breast cancer early 2025, so we've been dealing with a lot of treatment and recovery. She's cancer-free, but still home recovering from issues stemming from treatment side effects. I kept going with the channel for a few months, but I lost energy to play games and create videos, and with there always being someone at home, recording became more challenging. But for some reason I got a bit more energized recently, so here we are. Coming up are a few games I've already finished. Next video will be Guacamelee, then Metal Hellsinger, then Children of the Sun. All those games are played and scripts partially written. So if you want to keep up with what I'm playing, expect approximately every 3 weeks for those videos to drop, if all goes well. After that, I'm currently playing Card Shark, then I'll start Cyberpunk 2077. Technically, I'm also currently playing Hollow Knight Silksong and very kinda sorta Dark Souls 3, but those might wait for a bit. I'm looking forward to playing some more and not just buying games without playing them. I've got too many games to not play them, so let's get to it. Thank you everyone for watching, and if you've made it this far, special thanks to each and every one of you. If you like this video, a like would mean a lot to me, and if you want to see more of this kind of stuff, subscribing would be amazing. My goal is to hit 100 subs, and you could be one of those. You've all been wonderful today. Thank you again, have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.